JavaScript is one of the most weirdest language, and one of the factors that makes JavaScript more weird is called hoisting. And this video is all about hoisting. If you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. Let's start with an example first. What do you think is the output of the code on your screen? If you want to pause the video, this is the best time. Let's take a look at the output now. As you can see, the output is undefined, not an error. This happens because of something called hoisting, and it's one of the all-time favorite JavaScript interview question. Now let's take a look again and see what happened. Basically what happens is JavaScript takes a declaration of your variable and puts it on the top of your global object, which in this case is the browser. One thing to keep in mind is that only the declaration of variable is taken to the top of the global object, not the value assigned to it. So in this case, the variable emoji will be taken up and declared at the top of the file, and that's why when you console.log the emoji's value, it's undefined instead of throwing an error. Now what happens if I remove the var keyword with let or const? And the answer is this time it throws an error instead of giving undefined. So are let and const not hoisted? And the answer is no, let and const are still hoisted. The reason why this happens is because of something called a temporal dead zone. Basically, a temporal dead zone is when a variable is declared but a value is not defined to it. So whenever you try to access the variable, it throws an error. It only happens to let and const. I will leave a link to the article that explains temporal dead zone more briefly. So now you know what hoisting is. It's basically JavaScript taking your variable and declaring it on the top of your global object. Nice. So what do you think what happens in the case of functions? Are they hoisted or not? And the answer, it depends upon how the function is actually declared. Basically JavaScript allows you to declare functions in two different ways. That is function declaration versus function expression. Let's take a look at function declarations first. Function declaration is this orthodox way of declaring a function. Basically what you have is a function keyword and then the name of the function, and then you place all of the logic inside the curly braces. And now let's take a look at function expression. Function expression is pretty similar to function declaration, but in this case you just declare a function and then assign that value of the function to a variable. And the reason why I went in the whole rabbit hole of what function expression and what function declaration is because function expressions are not hoisted and function declaration are hoisted. Which means if I call a function expression before it's actually declared, then it's gonna throw an error. Versus a function declaration which will work without no errors. So now we know that function declaration are hoisted and variable are hoisted. So what do you think? Which one takes precedence over other? Functions or variables? And if you guessed it right, congratulations. Functions takes precedence over variables when it comes to hoisting. Which means if you assign a function to a variable and declare a function, then the declaration of function will take precedence over the assignment of a function to a variable. And as you can see in the example, I declared a function and a variable with almost the same value, and my function takes a precedence over the variable value assigned to it. That's all for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.